Pete Davidson has been problematic for a very long time. Whether he's making disgusting jokes about babies or disrespecting his former fiancée Ariana Grande, he's constantly finding himself in trouble. Pete has gone through a lot of trauma in his life, but that is no excuse. So let's get into it. If you are like me and you love witches, then you are going to love my new favorite game. Switchcraft is an app available on iPhone and Android devices. In this game, you are immersed into a whole new world. This is a graphic novel-style mobile game with TV-worthy writing. Pretty much, you'll play the role of Bailey, who is a freshman at the top Witchcraft Academy. In the game, Bailey's best friend disappears and they need your help saving her. Every move you make will determine if Bailey's best friend ever makes it back to safety, so the stakes are high. You guys can download it right now and start playing by following my link in the description below. My favorite part of this game is how interactive it is. Plus, there are so many cute and fun puzzles to play as you progress further. So get ready to get teleported to a world of magic and mystery. You guys can download this game by using my link in the description below. Thank you, Switchcraft, for sponsoring this video, and let me know how much you guys love the game. So this video is about Pete Davidson, but we need to start off by talking about his feud with Kanye West. Now, Kanye has literally been suspended from Instagram because he has been bullying and harassing Pete Davidson. As you guys know, Pete Davidson has been dating Kim Kardashian, which has been really upsetting Kanye, but I think one of Kanye's posts went a little too far. But honestly, can you blame him? Because he calls out a joke that Pete Davidson made, and it was extremely inappropriate. It involved him describing getting physical with an infant. Pete has received some backlash on this joke in the past. His audience members didn't think it was funny, and honestly, I don't understand this type of comedy where you're joking about doing it with your friend's baby. So at this point, Pete was 25 years old and he was on his tour, Pete Davidson and Friends. At one point during his routine at the Bell House in Brooklyn, New York, Pete told a story about a time when he was babysitting his friend's child. The baby was teething and Pete noticed the baby sucking his finger, but in a good way, he said, which, this is just giving me like such Bob Saget vibes. He was quoted saying, "I don't want to F this baby, but he's asking for it." He later added that he's not into getting intimate with babies, but if he was, he would choose that baby, which is just so disgusting. Pete took it way too far. I understand that comedy is up to interpretation, but there is a fine line, and Pete clearly crossed it. At one point in that same set, Pete started speaking about R. Kelly and how he's evil and how he hopes that he gets shot in the effing face. So he's talking about someone like R. Kelly, who's an absolute creep, and clearly he's not happy. But in the same set, he's talking about that baby in that way. And that was a rough night for Pete Davidson because he made a lot of awful jokes. He made a lot of jokes with the R word, which is a slur to describe people who may have disabilities. And of course, this angered the crowd as well. I don't even want to read these jokes because they are just so foul, but you guys can see that he's bringing up the R word and he's just talking disrespectfully. And maybe some people think that's funny, but I feel like the goal of comedy sometimes is to bring people together at the end, not to leave them, feeling uncomfortable and upset. But Pete Davidson has had a traumatic life himself, and he's gone through a lot. I mean, you've got to go through a lot to become someone like Pete Davidson. So Pete actually started doing stand-up at the age of 16 because he was having a hard time in high school and he felt accepted in these comedy clubs. Pete unfortunately lost his father father in the tragic September 11th attack. He claims this was one of the worst things that's ever happened to him, probably the worst thing, because he lost his father at the age of 7. His father was a firefighter, and he actually went into the building to try to help people, and he lost his own life. This was extremely traumatic for Pete Davidson, and he didn't know how to cope with his loss. He was so distraught that he had to seek help from mental health facilities to cope and feel better. When you guys hear that story about Pete Davidson's father, you probably feel super sad inside, at least I do, but Pete copes in an interesting way, and he has made some really disgusting jokes about his father's passing. Again, comedy is up for interpretation, but in this interview with Howard Stern, he's talking about getting off on Howard's wife, and then he says some really disturbing things about his father.
I go to dinner with my wife sometimes with friends. They're hitting on her.
I was jerking off to her before I met her. Of course,
exactly.
I've been there. I've been in the other shoes.
How did you hold out? How do you even make love decently when you...
I was just thinking of my dad being burned alive. Yeah, I just think of my dad seeing that fire just coming right towards him.
Okay, so that was uncalled for, and it's just so graphic. I mean, his comedy is clearly dark, and Pete has actually suggested in the past that losing his father at the age of 7 helped him become this SNL star. There's actually one joke that Pete Davidson told during the Justin Bieber roast, and I'll never forget it because everyone reacted in such a ooh way, because he brings up his father's passing and something about Justin's dad. Take a look.
You know, I lost my dad on 9/11, and I always regretted growing up without a dad. Until I met your dad, Justin. Now I'm glad mine's dead.
So Pete said, I lost my dad on 9/11, and I always regretted growing up without a dad. Until I met your dad, Justin. Now I'm glad mine's dead, which is a very awkward joke to tell. I mean, obviously he's poking fun at Justin's father, but he's still bringing up his very traumatic situation. Pete has said before that he likes making things that are dark and awkward and weird, typically things you don't find funny, because he likes to find the bright side of these situations, but sometimes it's not okay. He said, there's nothing I won't joke about, and I think it's because of what happened to me. That's the worst thing that could ever happen to somebody, talking about his dad's passing. Now it's just who cares, man? So he's just, out here ruthless because of what he's gone through before. He has no reason to hold back. Now let's switch gears and talk a little bit about some moments where Pete has said some questionable things about black people and black women.
Are you dating a black woman?
No.
No, he dates Carly Aquilino. I didn't know that. I'm not in the relationship that's Angela Yee.
She yells at me like a black woman.
No.
What is that supposed to mean?
Oh, God.
No, how do black women yell?
The problem with that clip is that Pete is pushing a stigma and a narrative about black women that isn't correct. And you guys can even hear the co-host start to call him out at the end. It's extremely ignorant, just like Pete is in this next clip.
Yeah, and it's really bothered me that I've never had sex with a black girl.
That clip gives me such bad vibes. He's just objectifying women. And again, he's just made these weird comments about black people before that I find distasteful.
I know you guys are a little creeped out. I'm aware I look like a white black guy, okay? I'm tall, I have big lips, I like white,
Now let's move on and talk about Pete's relationship with Ariana Grande. I mean, we had to talk about it because it was a peak in his career. I mean, maybe his relationship with Kim K is a new peak, but he was definitely peaking with Ariana. So a lot of Ariana fans were upset with Pete because he made a joke where he talks about switching out her birth control with a Tic Tac, trying to suggest that he's trying to get her pregnant without her consent.
Yeah, last night I switched her birth control with Tic Tacs. No, I believe in us and all. But, I just want to, make sure that she can't go anywhere.
I actually didn't realize until doing research for this video that switching out like birth control is a form of SA, and you can get in trouble for doing that to someone, which you should get in trouble for doing that to someone. I've just never even thought that someone would do such a thing. There's a theme when it comes to Pete's jokes about women, and I'm going to read this sentence right here. They demonstrate a fundamentally misogynistic tendency to minimize women's suffering and a broad lack of respect for women in general. And this happens time and time again, and he's made quite a few poor jokes about Ariana. You guys may remember in 2017, there was a full-blown terrorist attack at one of Ariana's concerts. If you guys want me to make a deep dive video about that situation, let me know. I do have it on my list. But there were 22 people who died in this situation. 59 were wounded, and it was very serious.
Terrorist attack at her concert in Manchester, England last year.
Oh my God.
22 people were killed and hundreds more injured by the suicide bomber.
Well, at a charity event, Pete Davidson decided to make a joke in reference to Britney Spears and Ariana, and he said that at least Britney didn't have an attack at one of her concerts.
It happened at a charity event last October when the SNL performer spoke about Ariana's fame and then quipped, Britney Spears didn't have a terrorist attack at her concert. Even though the crack was made 9 months ago, it's only begun circulating among fans of Ariana.
I mean, nobody really called him out on it until he started dating her. And then people looked back and were like, oh, wait, hold up. That was screwed up. He was like shading her before he even started dating her.
Ariana is now taking to social media and responding to the controversy. This has been very tough and conflicting on my heart, she acknowledged. But then she said of her fiance, he uses comedy to help people feel better. We all deal with trauma differently.
Keep in mind that he lost his own father to an attack in New York City. So you'd think that he would have a little bit of empathy or sympathy. But I mean, the way that he jokes about his father, of course he doesn't.
Davidson knows all too well the devastating impact of terrorism. His father, a New York City firefighter, lost his life on 9/11.
Okay, so we need to talk a little bit more about Ariana because there have been a few different situations where her fans have called him out for all the right reasons. So at Aretha Franklin's funeral, Ariana performed, and as you can see, there's Bill Clinton there in the background, and he's really looking at Ariana. I mean, these pictures went viral because he was checking her out the entire time. Creepy Bill. Oh my gosh, look at him. I mean, look at him creeping on her. Looking so scary. No, protect her. Get a job. I don't know. All those things people say on Twitter, like, get away from her. Anyways, in this next clip, we're going to be talking about Pete said that he was fine with Bill checking out Ariana. I mean, he was proud of her for that. So he's cool with Bill creeping on Ariana. And he actually said that he felt bad for this pastor who was also creeping on Ariana. Like, supposedly this pastor, what am I doing? Like, grabbed her boob, like, as you guys can see in the corner. Like, there's his hand grabbing all up on her. And Pete said that he felt bad for this guy. And her fans weren't happy with that.
When Bill Clinton is eyeing up your girlfriend.
Oh yeah, I've never been prouder.
And this, okay, that's okay, but
Yeah.
that guy who the minister who put his hand around her and grabbed titty,
Yeah,
not cool.
it's not. Here's the thing: it's not cool, and I feel really bad. We didn't even know it happened until later.
Oh really?
Yeah,
She didn't feel the hand on her titty.
No, she was just so like, what the f***'s going on? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So but I feel bad for that guy.
Obviously, that's not the worst thing that he has done, but like, why do you feel bad for that guy? Like, I don't know. It's just like, I'm glad that she said thank you next to him. And while we're on the topic of the Clintons, let's talk about that horrific tattoo that he has of Hillary Clinton. This is something that Kanye continues to call him out on, and I'm not entirely sure why he has this tattoo. He said that she's a badass and one of the strongest people in the universe. Yeah, so I don't know. Comment below. What do you guys think about that? Actually, the tattoo's done really well. I have to give him that. Now let's talk about one of Pete's more recent scandals because he got in a lot of trouble for calling out a congressman. His name is Dan Crenshaw, and pretty much Pete made a joke that he looks like he's a hitman in an adult film. Dan Crenshaw looked like a hitman in an adult film because of his eye patch, which Pete then goes on to be dismissive of how Dan got that injury because he was fighting in war and he lost his eye. And I don't know, a bunch of people found it super disrespectful.
May be surprised to hear he's a congressional candidate from Texas and not a hitman in a porno movie. He lost his eye in war or whatever.
People in America hate when you disrespect people who have been in the army and have served on armed forces, and I totally get why. I mean, I don't know. I've just been, you know, some people are raised that way. So I think people made it a bigger deal than what you would think just because, I don't know. I mean, it is a big deal to a lot of people, but it's not like he said something super horrific. It was just really in bad taste, especially for someone who like fights to defend our country with everything going on with Ukraine and everything. I'm so grateful for everyone who has served and is currently serving. And, you know, you just, you know, again, crossing the line. It's a theme here. So Pete ended up apologizing and Dan actually came onto SNL and they were all buddy-buddy, which was very convenient and nice for Pete, which, you know, I believe in forgiveness. We can all move on. But at this point, Pete was getting a bunch of crap for those comments. So it was really nice that Dan was willing to do that for Pete's career, and it was a boost for Dan's as well. So in this video, we went through some of Pete's past controversies, but we didn't really talk about his mental health issues or anything like that, which if you guys do want a deeper dive, let me know in the comments below. We don't shame mental health or addiction issues on this channel, and I think it's inspiring that he's gone through so much. I mean, it shows that he's a real person and he has had trouble with addiction and he's gone into facilities for that. Pete has also been open about his borderline personality disorder, which he spoke about, I believe it was 2017 when he started speaking about it and went public, but that's something that not a lot of people are open and honest with. So if you guys want me to talk a little bit more about that struggle, that side of his life, we totally can, but we need to have a respectful conversation and kind of just go through the series of like events because, the fact that he survived all of this is impressive. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment below, and here is my email. If you have any other video ideas for me, let's go ahead and open this P.O. Box package letter, and it's from Jordan, and she's from the West Coast. I'm actually going to be opening more packages soon. I just haven't had a shipment yet, but trust me, it's all still happening. Girl, what the? I've never had money sent to me. What? Girl, what are you doing? Jordan, Sloan, December. May your future holiday traditions bring you joy and peace. I can't believe that you are changing codes. I am so excited for you. Thank you for creating great content. Here is to 2022 being the best year ever. Your friend in Las Vegas. And then you've got, oh my gosh, your number. I'm gonna put your number on my phone right now. That is so sweet. What? Jordan, you should have left her Instagram or something. That is so nice. Thank you so much. And she gave me 2022. So she gave me $42. That is so, this is just so random. I love it and I love the letter. And when I'm in Vegas, I'll be hitting you up. So I'm just kidding. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you, Jordan, for the money. And I'll see you guys in a new video soon. Bye, guys.